of my favorite songs from Rockborn Men is Human, and beside the music is also the message behind the song. Human comes from something very real, and sometimes most humans are guilty of. People complain too much about small things. If you take a step back and become a little bit less preoccupied with your life and circumstances, then your problem becomes insignificant. When you blame others for what you're going through, you deny responsibility and aggravate the problem. Just take a look in the mirror and what do you see? Be very honest with yourself. Blaming is just another excuse, and making excuses is the first step toward failure. You and only you are responsible for your life choices and decisions. When you blame others, you presume that your actions were right. It was the system, the environment, the government, the boss, your significant other, or whoever was wrong. It is they who need to change, not you. You give out your power to change. You create an environment of demotivation around you by the negative energy of blame. Stop blaming others for what you have or don't have, or for what you feel or don't feel. Don't put your blame on other people. Stop blaming everyone else for your problems. Your life is your responsibility, and it is only the moment you take full responsibility for your life that you actually can do something about it.
You know, living with you, it hasn't been easy. People see me, but they think of you. Now with all this going on, this is gonna be worse than ever.
It don't have to be.
No, sure it does.
Why? You got a lot going on, kid.
Oh, what, my last name? That's the reason I got a decent job. That's the reason why people deal with me in the first place. Now I start to get a little ahead. I start to get a little something for myself, and this happens. Now I'm asking you as a favor not to go through with this, okay? This is only gonna end up bad for you, and it's gonna end up bad for me.
You think I'm hurting you?
Yeah, in a way you are.
That's the last thing I ever wanted to do.
I know that's not what you want to do, but that's just the way that it is. Don't you care what people think? Doesn't it bother you that people are making you out to be a joke and that I'm going to be included in that? Do you think that's right? Do you?
You ain't gonna believe this, but you used to fit right here. I'd hold you up and say to your mother, this kid's gonna be the best kid in the world. This kid's gonna be somebody better than anybody ever knew. And you grew up good and wonderful. It was great just watching you every day. It was like a privilege. Then the time come for you to be your own man and take on the world, and you did. But somewhere along the line, you changed. You stopped being you. You let people stick a finger in your face and tell you you're no good. And when things got hard, you started looking for something to blame, like a big shadow. Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you wanna be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
One of the best quotes from Jim Rohn, one of my mentors in life, said this: the greatest value in life is not what you get. The greatest value in life is what you become. The moment you decide to stop complaining, you will find other better things to do with your life and become more successful. Find that one thing in your life. What is that you believe? What is your purpose in life? What is your why? And then start moving in that direction. Jim Rohn also used to say that you are the average of 5 people you spend the most of your time with. So if you are surrounded by people who complain about everything and praise nothing, you need to stay away from them. And most people that start a success and want to be better in their business or in their life know this very well, and they will try to stay away from people that complain and are toxic to their ideas. So when you start complaining, you are rejecting people away from you, and you are rejecting success. You get from life what you give in life. When you don't blame others, you become resilient. To be resilient is to recognize that if you are dissatisfied with certain aspects of your life, then it's your responsibility to take the initiative and do something about it. If you are not part of the problem, then you are part of the solution. Start moving the needle in a different direction. Success starts when you take responsibility for your actions. Time spent in blaming is a total waste. You must accept responsibility for your actions and their consequences, rather than just blaming others. The system is rarely responsible for your problems, and much happiness and success will come from you accepting full responsibility for your current situation. I can tell you this, to stop playing the blame game is to be free indeed. How different will be your life if you stop complaining? Is this possible? We all make mistakes. We are only humans. Today, make the decision to stop complaining and become a better human. Till I see you next time, make it a great life.
Blaming others for your problems is a complete waste of time. When you do that, you don't learn anything. You can't grow and you can't mature. Thus, you can't make your life better. In my 3 decades as a professor and clinical psychologist, I've learned that there are 2 fundamental attitudes toward life and its sorrows. Those with the first attitude blame the world. Those with the second ask what they could do differently. Imagine a couple on the brink of divorce. They're hurt and angry. The unhappy, bitter husband recalls the terrible things his wife has done and the reasons he can no longer live with her. The harried and disillusioned wife, in turn, can describe all the ways her husband let her down. Each has a long list of necessary changes for the other person. Their prospects for reconciliation are grim. Why? Because other people aren't the problem. You're the problem. You can't change other people, but you can change yourself. But it's difficult. It takes courage to change. And it takes discipline. It's much easier and much more gratifying to your basest desires to blame someone else for your misery. Consider the youthful activist making a statement against the corrupt capitalist system by smashing in the storefront of a local business. What has he done other than to bring harm to people who have nothing to do with his real problems? The guilt, doubt, and shame he will inevitably feel in consequence will have to be suppressed, so his beliefs can remain unchanged. And that suppression will do nothing but foster his anger and alienation. In the play The Cocktail Party by American English poet T.S. Eliot, one of the characters is having a very hard time of it. She speaks of her profound unhappiness to her psychiatrist. She tells him that she hopes her suffering is all her own fault. Taken aback, the psychiatrist asks why. Because, she tells him, if it's her fault, she can do something about it. If it's in the nature of the world, however, she's doomed. She can't change everything else. But she could change herself. Now, there are people who seem to be consigned to a terrible fate, but most of us aren't. Most of us have a chance to make our lives better. But how? Start small. Ask yourself a few questions. Have you taken full advantage of the opportunities offered to you? Are you working to your fullest capacity at school or at work? Have you, in other words, set your own house in order? If the answer is no, try this. Stop doing what you know to be wrong. Stop today. Don't waste time asking how you know that what you're doing is wrong. Inopportune questioning can confuse without enlightening and deflect you from action. You can know something is right or wrong without knowing why. Start paying attention. Do you procrastinate, show up late, spend money you don't have, and drink more than you should? It's not a matter of accepting some externally imposed morality. It's a dialogue with your own conscience. What are you doing that's wrong from your own perspective? What could you put right now? Get to work on time. Stop interrupting people. Make peace with your siblings and your parents. Diligently utilize everything you already have at hand. If you do those things, your life will improve, You'll become more peaceful, productive, and desirable. After some days or weeks or months of attentive effort, your mind will clear. Your life will become less tragic, and you'll become more confident. You'll start seeing right from wrong more clearly. The path in front of you will shine more brightly. You'll stop getting in your own way. Instead of bringing trouble to yourself, your family, and your society, you'll be a positive and reliable force. Your life will still be difficult. You'll still suffer. That's the price of being alive. But maybe you'll become strong enough to accept that burden, and in that fashion, even come to act nobly and with purpose. The proper way to fix the world isn't to fix the world. There's no reason to assume that you're even up to such a task, but you can fix yourself. You'll do no one any harm by doing so. And in that manner, at least, you will make the world a better place. I'm Jordan Peterson, Professor of Psychology at the University of Toronto, for Prager University.